Cinderella could scarcely contain her delight, and inquired the name of the princess. But they replied that nobody knew her name, and that the king's son was in great trouble about her, and would give the world to know who she could be. "Is she, then, so very beautiful?" said Cinderella, smiling. "Oh, my! How I should like to see her! Oh, do, my Lady Javotte, lend me the yellow dress you wear every day, that I may go to the ball and have a peep at this wonderful princess." "A likely story indeed," cried Javotte, tossing her head disdainfully, "that I should lend my clothes to a dirty Cinderella like you." Cinderella expected to be refused, and was not sorry for it, as she would have been puzzled what to do had her sister really lent her the dress she begged to have. On the following evening the sisters again went to the court ball, and so did Cinderella, dressed even more magnificently than before. The king's son never left her side, and kept paying her the most flattering attentions. The young lady was nothing loath to listen to him, so it came to pass that she forgot her godmother's injunctions, and indeed lost her reckoning so completely that before she deemed it could be 11 o'clock, she was startled at hearing the first stroke of midnight. She rose hastily and flew away like a startled fawn. The prince attempted to follow her, but she was too swift for him. Only as she flew, she dropped one of her glass slippers, which he picked up very eagerly. Cinderella reached home quite out of breath, without either coach or footman, and with only her shabby clothes on her back. Nothing, in short, remained of her recent magnificence, save a little glass slipper, the fellow to the one she had lost. The sentinels at the palace gate were closely questioned as to whether they had not seen a princess coming out, but they answered they had seen no one except a shabbily dressed girl who appeared to be a peasant rather than a young lady. On this second night, as you have taken notice, dazzled by worldly show and the pleasing flattery of her royal lover, Cinderella overstays her time, and is compelled to make her way back to her father's house on foot and in rags. An everlasting lesson to all the pretty little Cinderellas in the world to keep their word, and to act in good faith by such as befriend them. Never mind, her heart is in the right place. She is a charming good creature, and although virtue goes home in rags, it will leave some token behind, some footprint by which it can be known and traced wherever it has once walked. We shall hear from that little lost glass slipper again. When the two sisters returned from the ball, Cinderella asked them whether they had been well entertained, and whether the beautiful lady was there. They replied that she was, but that she had run away as soon as midnight had struck, and so quickly as to drop one of her dainty glass slippers, which the king's son had picked up, and was looking at most fondly during the remainder of the ball. Indeed, it seemed beyond a doubt that he was deeply enamored of the beautiful creature to whom it belonged. They spoke truly enough, for a few days afterwards the king's son caused a proclamation to be made, by sound of trumpet all over the kingdom, to the effect that he would marry her whose foot should be found to fit the slipper exactly. So the slipper was first tried on by all the princesses, then by all the duchesses, and next by all the persons belonging to the court, but in vain. It was then carried to the two sisters, who tried with all their might to force their feet into its delicate proportions, but with no better success. Cinderella, who was present and recognized her slipper, now laughed and said, "Suppose I were to try?" Her sisters ridiculed such an idea, but the gentleman who was appointed to it was but fair she should do so, as he had orders to try it on every young maiden in the kingdom. Accordingly, having requested Cinderella to sit down, she no sooner put her little foot to the slipper than she drew it on, and it fitted like wax. The sisters were quite amazed, but their astonishment increased tenfold when Cinderella drew the fellow slipper out of her pocket and put it on. Her godmother then made her appearance, and having touched Cinderella's clothes with her wand, made them still more magnificent than those she had previously worn. Her two sisters now recognized her for the beautiful stranger they had seen at the ball, and falling at her feet, implored her forgiveness for their unworthy treatment, and all the insults they had heaped upon her head. Cinderella raised them, saying, as she embraced them, that she not only forgave them with all her heart, but wished for their affection. She was then taken to the palace of the young prince, in whose eyes she appeared yet more lovely than before, and who married her shortly after. Cinderella, who was as good as she was beautiful, allowed her sisters to lodge in the palace, and gave them in marriage that same day to two lords belonging to the court. The amiable qualities of Cinderella were as conspicuous after as they had been before marriage. The